Yo, listen up, I got a story to tell about a Barbie doll that fell under a spell. She lived in Barbie land, everything seemed fine, but one day thoughts of death and sadness entered her mind. The other Barbies, knowing that something was wrong, sent her to Weird Barbie before too long. Weird Barbie and outcast in Barbie land, told her a girl in the real world needed her hand. She followed the sound and led her to the real world, where she found a girl named Sasha with only vitriol and insults to her. Turns out the one that needed help was the teen's mother. Gloria Barbie knew she had to help her like no other. She brought them back to Barbie land. What a sight, bringing joy after shining so bright. But wait, there's trouble in paradise. Oh no, Ken has gone rogue. Find out how this ends and watch the show.
I create motivational prints. If you would like to support my channel, you can order one from the link in the description.
Enter our heroine, stereotypical Barbie. Flashing her pearly whites like she's on a Colgate commercial and greeting her fellow Barbies, her day kicks off with an imaginary feast. Because who needs calories when you're plastic? Before she zips off in her convertible to a high-profile gig at the White House. Because in Barbie Land, Barbie doesn't just run for office, she owns it. Meanwhile, at the beach, we have a Ken, because there's always a Ken, trying to impress Barbie with something. His attempt to strut his stuff by the faux ocean waves crashes harder than a Windows 95 computer, earning him nothing but snickers from his Ken brethren. Later, after getting the green light from his GP that he's still a prime example of plastic perfection, Ken scores an invite to Barbie's soiree. The party's a hit, with everyone vibing except for Ken, who's sulking in a corner like a toddler denied candy. Classic Ken, always craving the spotlight. Mid-party, Barbie drops a mood bombshell, wondering aloud about the existential dread of ceasing to exist. Talk about killing the vibe. She backpedals faster than a politician caught in a scandal, chirping about being dying to dance. Crisis averted, but our girl's still got that something's not right glint in her eye. As the night winds down, Ken tries to turn up the heat, only to get friend-zoned into the next century. Barbie's all about that girl's night, every night. Sorry, Ken, looks like it's another evening with Netflix and your ego. But as Barbie hits the hay, that earlier existential crisis creeps back. The next morning, something's off.
Her toast is charcoal, her milk has turned to cheese, and her feet, those iconic pillars of plastic perfection, are refusing to do their one job, being perpetually ready for invisible high heels. Cue the horror movie scream. She spills her tragic tale to her friends, sparking a collective gag reflex that sweeps through Barbie land like a fashion trend. Amidst the sympathetic retching, someone drops the bomb. You've got to see Weird Barbie. You know the one. She's seen things, man. Played with by toddlers with no respect for spinal integrity, she now exists in a perpetual yoga pose, offering sage advice from her twisted vantage point. Weird Barbie, in between her attempts to realign her own limbs, drops a truth bomb. Apparently, our stereotypical Barbie's existential crisis isn't just midlife malaise. It's a psychic SOS from her human, the young girl who played with her. Bad vibes are afoot, manifesting in plastic cellulite and a philosophical dread typically reserved for French novels. Cut to a daring quest to the real world. As Barbie makes her exit, Ken, ever the stage 5 clinger, pops up in her rearview mirror with a surprise road trip. Despite Barbie's internal screams, she lets him tag along. Together, they cross dimensions, or state lines, it's a bit fuzzy, to land in California, land of dreams, traffic, and avocados. Ken, in a subplot that no one asked for, discovers a world where men, shockingly, hold a bit more sway than their Barbie Land counterparts. He's thrilled. It's like discovering pizza for the first time, but with power dynamics. Meanwhile, Barbie, now going by Barbara Prime, tunes into her psychic GPS, catching visions of her girl, her sadness, and her whereabouts, like a beacon of hope or a really invasive GPS tracker. Meanwhile, at Mattel head office, an employee named Aaron gets a call from the FBI that a Ken and Barbie have escaped because somehow the FBI knows that a bunch of people are being held captive on an island by a giant corporation and are totally fine with it. Epstein's Island. Aaron heads straight to the senior executives, skipping past a receptionist named Gloria, who is sketching Barbies with themes like cellulite Barbie, crippling shame Barbie, and thoughts of death Barbie. Ring any bells? Bypassing Gloria, Aaron reaches the group responsible for the world's most iconic female doll. And guess what? It's all men at the helm. Surprise, surprise, he informs them that 2 dolls have made a break for it, prompting the Mattel CEO to urgently declare that they must be recovered immediately. Gloria, standing outside with her jaw on the sidewalk, that a corporate titan like Mattel has its own version of Fantasy Island. She's gobsmacked because Ken and Barbie are apparently not just choking hazards for toddlers, but real, walking, talking existential crises. Cut to Barbie, homing pigeon style, zoning in on her girls' high school, ready for a heartfelt reunion. Instead, she's met by Sasha, the teen embodiment of a Twitter takedown, who blasts Barbie for perpetuating every unrealistic expectation since sliced bread. She caps it off by calling Barbie a fascist. Because of course, nothing says rebel without a cause like hurling political labels at plastic dolls. Ah, the sweet symphony of adolescence. Meanwhile, Ken's embarking on his own journey of discovery in the quiet halls of a library, where he stumbles upon the concept of patriarchy. It's a revelation. When a woman casually asks him for the time, he's hit by a wave of respect he's never known. It's all uphill from there, or so he thinks, until he tries to leapfrog into a medical degree on the strength of his jawline alone. Spoiler, it doesn't work. Then, in a moment of pure Kenergy, he decides that if he can't beat him, he'll lead him back to Barbie Land, where he can be the big plastic fish in a small plastic pond. Meanwhile, our heroine Barbie, ever the optimist, mistakes a Mattel Snatch Squad for a carpool club. She hops in, because so far, men have been nothing but stand-up guys, right? Sasha's ride home arrives, and who is it? Gloria, our goth office worker, thereby connecting all our plot dots with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. As Gloria's car eats the Mattel van's dust, we cut to the world's least effective corporate villains trying to coax Barbie into a box with the promise of, what exactly? Free Wi-Fi? She bolts, leading to a chase scene that would make Scooby-Doo proud, until she ends up in a Narnia-like kitchen with Ruth, the wise old sage of the story, who's probably wondering how she ended up in this millennial fever dream. After some tea and a pep talk that would put a Hallmark card to shame, Barbie's escape is facilitated by none other than Gloria, who's suddenly in the getaway driver's seat. As they exchange their life stories in the world's most bizarre Uber ride, they realize the twisted fate that Gloria's own despair was the dark cloud over Barbie's plastic life. Barbie, ever the tour guide, whisks Gloria, Sasha, and the audience back to Barbie Land, where Gloria and Sasha get the grand tour from Barbie herself, only to discover it's not the woman-powered wonderland it used to be. No, folks, we've stepped into a dystopian sitcom where the Barbies have been demoted to glorified extras in the Ken Show. It seems Ken, in a move as subtle as a sledgehammer, gave a TED Talk on patriarchy that went viral for all the wrong reasons. The result? A world where everything screams bro, minus the actual fun of a cold one. Ken, now self-appointed king of this plastic patriarchy, has rebranded Barbie's dream house into something that sounds like a rejected reality TV show, Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa House. Yes, it's as tragic as it sounds. Here, Ken airs his grievances like a soap opera villain, bemoaning his lack of respect while unwittingly becoming the poster boy for irony. Meanwhile, Barbie hits rock bottom, only to be saved by Weird Barbie and the Island of Misfit Toys. Discontinued Barbies, who've somehow dodged Ken's mansplaining masterclass. Together, they form a resistance that smells strongly of an 80s montage in the making. Cut to the CEO of Mattel, who apparently unlocked the secret to interdimensional travel just in time to witness the downfall of his plastic empire. As Gloria and Sasha try to make their great escape, they encounter a border patrol with less skill than a group of toddlers stacking blocks. It's Sasha's pep talk that turns the car around, because nothing says mother-daughter bonding like storming a doll dictatorship. In the heart of the rebellion, we find Barbie wallowing in Weird Barbie's eclectic abode, questioning her very existence. Enter Gloria, Sasha, and Alan, because apparently this party needed an extra guest. Gloria, seizing the moment like it's the last slice of pizza, delivers a monologue on the trials and tribulations of womanhood that's so on point, it snaps one of the brainwashed Barbies back to reality. With a plan that hinges on their ability to outwit the Kens by underestimating their own intelligence, our heroines set off on a covert mission. It's a heist plot with a twist. liberate the minds of the Barbies, one ditzy act at a time. The Barbies concoct a scheme straight out of the Real Housewives of Barbieland, make the Kens green with envy, and watch as they destroy each other over who gets to flex their plastic muscles the hardest. It's like Mean Girls, but with more hair gel and existential crises. Just as the plan starts to bear fruit, bam, a musical number erupts. Because nothing says masculine rivalry like a spontaneous dance-off. Seriously, it's like West Side Story met Toy Story and decided to solve their differences through song. And just like that, the Kens find harmony in the key of G-sharp major. It's the kind of plot development that makes you wonder if the writers are just throwing darts at an idea board. With the Kens distracted by their newfound love for show tunes, the Barbies stage a coup and reclaim their pastel-colored democracy. The Kens, realizing they've been outmaneuvered, march to the dream houses for a final showdown, only to find Ken having an existential crisis in his Mojo Dojo Casa house. There, he and Barbie have a moment more suited to a therapy session than a children's toy narrative, confessing their shortcomings and renegotiating their relationship status. Ken, in a stunning display of introspection, decides he needs to find himself, a journey that apparently begins with the declaration, "Ken is me." It's a cathartic moment for anyone who's ever wondered if there's more to life than being a well-dressed accessory. Enter the CEO of Mattel, ready to wave his magic corporate wand and reset Barbieland to its factory settings. But wait, the president of Barbieland, in a move that would make a constitutional scholar blink, decides maybe they've been a bit hasty with the whole patriarchy thing. She offers Weird Barbie a spot in the government because, at this point, why not? And in a gesture of goodwill, the men are given a bit more power. But let's not get crazy here. The real kicker comes when stereotypical Barbie meets Ruth, the benevolent creator of all things Barbie. Ruth, in a move that blurs the lines between creation and creator, offers Barbie the ultimate upgrade, humanity. Because nothing completes a coming-of-age saga like stepping out of the plastic mold and into the world of existential dread and taxes. Barbara, now human and named after Ruth's own daughter, because we love a full circle moment, is ready to tackle her greatest challenge yet, navigating the human world, starting with the thrilling adventure of finding a new gynecologist. I create motivational prints. If you would like to support my channel, you can order one from the link in the description.